Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Talk Court Fantasy Football League podcast. I am your host, Nate. You can find our show on Twitter or all socials at Taco Court Pod. That includes YouTube. So thank you for listening either on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a comment or a review wherever you're at. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you don't like. I don't care if it's 1 star or if it's you right. I wish I can give this no stars. Just help us out, give us some feedback. We'll make it better. Once again, I'm joined by my good buddy, Tony. Tony, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me on once again. I was on the treadmill when I got your Facebook message summoning me to the pod. And once again, Nate, I answered. Happy to be here. Happy to talk all things football and all things Trey.
Yeah. Sometimes I just don't know what, like, the idea hasn't come for what I want to do for the episode yet.
Yeah.
And then it just hits me and I'm like, okay, now. Right. And that's when I start writing the notes. So I did that this morning or whatever. And I was like, oh, let me hit you up, see if you're on this thing at work or not. Like, so we'll see what we got going on. Anyways, we'll hit our our main 5 topics of the podcast here. We're a fantasy football podcast. Really, it's just a podcast revolved around the 12 members of our fantasy league. We talk sports. We also don't talk sports, and we just see where it goes. So we'll hit our top of minds, manager on manager news and notes. We'll go over and do a draft, and then we will finish out with rants and raves before we leave you with a banger of the week. So Tony, coming out of last week into this week, what's on top of your mind?
I couldn't really think of anything here, but an episode popped up on my Apple podcast feed after I finished like a waiver wire episode or something for the week. And it was our Squid Games episode from earlier this year, like the full one. It was like from January, February. Yeah, I listened to it. I didn't need to. I'd already listened to that. I edited the damn thing, recorded it, probably listened to it like 3 times through, but I listened again just for shits and gigs. And man, what a work of art. What a masterpiece. That one was so much fun. And I think you guys need to do one.
Yeah, that thing was so good, man. I'm hoping let's do one when it comes up with, Squid Games 2.
Oh, the sequel. Yeah.
That
the second
sequel
season.
comes out. So then we'll try to build off of what that's got going on. So maybe we
Down.
could do it week by week, right? Based off the last week's episode, or I don't know if
Yeah.
it does that, right? Like I think it just drops the full season on Netflix. Never mind. But yeah, we'll binge it over a night and then record right in the morning. So that's pretty cool.
I really liked it. I liked how
those episodes are good.
We had you die in like the 4th episode, and then we brought you back in the 5th one just because we needed like an even number. It made sense to us, but yeah.
Like the descriptions that Matt gives about me during that part of the episode is so good. I was like, oh my god, this is so fun.
Wildly inappropriate.
You did so good on that. I'm gonna link that down below, that specific episode. So
do the one,
if you want to go listen
one,
to that,
where it's all 5 crammed into one.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll link that down below for everybody. Top of mind for me, sitting at work, some guy decided to schedule a video teleconference at the same time, like right at the start of halftime of the U.S. versus Iran in the World Cup.
Wow.
U.S. needed to win. So I'm sitting there like, I walk in to the office. The game starts in about an hour. There's a meeting going on in our office with like 10 people. I'm like, Jesus Christ, get the hell out of here. The game's going to start. I need to watch this thing while we got it going on, right? So I got it in my headphones. And then when it gets done, one of the other guys is a soccer guy. He comes over. He's like, oh, shit, you got it on. I'm going to hang out here till the first half's over. Then I'm going to go home and drink beer because this is all I had to do today, right? And he's a big soccer guy. So hung out or whatever like that. We went nuts when Pulisic scored the goal. But the second half, I had to watch it with my AirPod or my earphone in. And it kind of stunk because there was so much anxiety to the second half of it that you wanted to say something or do, but they were like literally on a video teleconference with people from other sides of the globe trying to do actual work. And it was really tough. So I went off on him. And another thing that's on top of my mind is I think I've figured out how to tell like whether or not a guy's got something stressful going on in his life or he's just doing all right. And I've been recognizing, I've almost done like a study. Just hear me out on this. All right. So I've done a study over the month, about a month now, because I kind of noticed about a month ago, but okay, whatever. Right. And when you're at the urinal, okay, and a guy's trying to take a leak, when that first stream starts to come out, whatever sound that person makes, you can tell how they're doing personally. Like you hear the or something like that, or the or something like that. Like they got something going on, right? Like, or you just hear like this, it's not coming out, and then you hear, like, or whatever it is. You hear the guy make a noise, and then you hear like the stream just comes out super heavy, and you're like, oh, that dude's got shit going on in life, right? And then you follow him around a little bit, or you interact with him at work or whatever, and you kind of just put the pieces together, like, okay, yeah, this dude's triggered right now, and I could tell by the way the sound that he made at the urinal. So homework over the next week, listen to the people that are around you while you're at the urinal. Just listen, right? You don't have to look at them or anything like that. You'll just reckon you're good. It's going to be on your mind now, and anybody that's listening is going to be on their mind. Just listen to the people at the urinal, and you will tell how a guy is doing personally, emotionally, whatever you want to call it, deep inside.
Are you doing all right? You're listening to dudes piss, and you're following them around out of the bathroom. Should
No,
we be concerned?
they're just
Do we need
people
to?
who I work with. My building is very small. There's only a couple hundred people, right? And I interact with majority of the people that I end up seeing piss. Like you're just
Yeah.
standing next to them or two urinals down or something, you can hear it. Yeah, it's or you're just washing your hands. Just listen. You don't have to like look to the side of your eye or nothing like that. That's kind of fucking creepy. But
Is anyone dropping any comments like, "Yeah, nice watch, buddy"? Or what's
I
another
do
one?
that shit all the time.
Shake it more than 2 times. You're playing with it, fellas.
Yeah, is anybody need a hand?
That's
That's
a
the
good
good
one.
one.
Yeah.
That's the good one. That's top of mind for me. Let's move on to manager on manager. So Tony, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So this last weekend, it was Black Friday. We went over to Trey's house. Trey hosted a poker night. He does these things, maybe once a quarter, every 3-4 months or something like that. It's kind of nice. Hey, the guys get out. We're all pretty busy and stuff like that. Just to get out, shoot the shit with the boys or whatever like that. But when I walked in, Trey brought up this topic, and it's kind of the way we're going to go with the episode today. He brought up how much we trash him here on the podcast, and he thinks that we should be more kind and positive towards our friends and members of our fantasy football league. He would like more positivity, more kindness, saying good things about somebody or whatever like that. Do you think that we should be doing that kind of stuff with our friends or members of the fantasy league? Do you think we should be more kind and more positive, I guess you would say?
Did you really say that?
I swear to God, this was a topic that like, and there's 12. He was not shameful. It was literally on his mind. There's like 10 people in the kitchen area. I'm on one side of that island that's like the size of, King Tut's bathtub, and he's on the other side or whatever like that. But yeah, he brought it up. He was like, "Hey,
Okay.
why guys always got to trash me? Like, how about we say some nice things about each other?" And I was like, "That's not how we act or whatever like that." And he's like, "It would be nice." What do you feel?
I agree. I think, we can be a bit harsh at times. We focus a lot on the negative. We sometimes try to tear each other down for whatever reason, for a laugh. I don't know. But,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's something inside of each of us that we're battling through, right?
Yeah.
But I get it, Trey. We'll do better. We'll be better starting right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I thought about it's been on my mind, and it's kind of the topic of the episode. I mean, you'll see the name of the episode, the title of it, I guess you would say. And I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be a little bit more positive and kind and talk some nice things about the people in our league. Um, I think it's commonly known that you don't rag on your boys unless you really love them, right? Like that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
we kind of show love. We just talk shit or whatever like that, especially like when they're gonna hear it. But like behind our backs, random people or something like that, we always hype each other up or whatever like that. But
I would never waste any time trashing on someone I don't like.
yeah, exactly. It's a waste of time. Anyways, you got a question for me?
Yes. So this irritates me so much. Tipping for to-go orders. Do you do it? Why or why not?
It depends on where it's at and like what the service level is, right? So I'll go to places. I tend to go order somewhere first before I like order online to
Mhm.
pick up or something like that. So like if I'm ordering online and I'm going to pick it up, it depends on where it is. Um, but like if I'm ordering online and I'm going to like McDonald's or something like that, right? And I'm just walking in, picking
Mhm.
it up, or Chipotle or something. Yeah, I'm not gonna tip or something like that. But if I go to like one of my, it depends on just if I like the place. Like there's like a Vietnamese place I really like, I'll tip them or something like that, or some Mexican food place or whatever like that I know is like family run or something. They do a good job. It's like the food's always great. Yeah, I'll tip for that. But the idea of tipping, this has been on my social feeds and reels and TikToks,
Mm-hmm.
especially TikTok, heavily, where people are like, tipping is getting out of control in America. Like I went and ordered a drink, like a coffee or whatever like that, and before you could even do it, they flip it around. It's going to ask you a question, and they're standing right there, right? And it's like you might hit the wrong button or something like that, or it's
Yeah.
not working. Or do you want to leave a tip? No, right? And then you get these looks or whatever. It's kind of awkward. Like the concept of tipping is really awkward, and I think we're like one of the only countries in the world that does it.
Yeah, for well-traveled people like such as you and I,
Mm-hmm.
we've been, to Europe. They don't tip there. It's
No,
frowned upon. You can, but it's frowned upon. They'll usually say, "Yeah, we don't need that." But like here, you go to a restaurant, you sit down, you get good service. Of course, yeah, 20-25%, maybe more. Here you
mm-hmm.
go. You did a great job. Ordering Donatos from Red Robin, where I'm just going inside and picking it up. You don't need a tip. You
Nah.
literally brought it from the kitchen to the counter. And this happened to me a couple times. I ordered it, paid, tipped ahead of time because I felt guilty. It was during like the end of COVID, right? The
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. I would tip ahead of time and I'd sit out in my car in the little slots. You pull up, you're like, I'm in number 8 or number
Yeah.
7 or whatever. And they would bring it out and it was cold. I'm like, I tipped you, motherfuckers. This shit should be piping hot. So
Yeah.
this is what I do now for any restaurant that asks for the tip for a pickup order like that, which you shouldn't do. I don't think you should. I
Mhm.
won't pay until I get to the restaurant and I'll tip
Yeah.
0. That way the service after they see that I didn't tip doesn't impact my order, right? I don't get any
Mhm.
spit or anything like that. Because I've worked in food. We've all
Yeah.
seen waiting. So yeah, I'm definitely
Mhm.
anti tip for pickup orders. Get
Yeah.
that out of here.
I will tip generously, and it's scary, but I will tip generously if I do like Uber Eats or DoorDash or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And part of that is because I have DoorDashed before. Like that was part of like what I did when like COVID hit or whatever. I had
Yeah.
the girls were with their mom for a week and I had nothing else to do. So I was like, oh, I'll DoorDash or whatever like that, do some extra work and make some extra cash or whatever.
You're talking about like the people when they drop off the food.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
drop it off at your house
that's
and stuff
fine.
like
This
that.
is this is completely separate. I'm good with
Because
tipping those guys.
like Door Dashers won't take like your order will get passed around or declined a bunch of times and
Mhm.
like be sitting there waiting to get picked up if you don't tip decently, because kind of the rule of thumb for people doing DoorDash or things like that is like $2 a mile,
Mhm.
right?
Jesus.
Yeah. So most people are ordering from fairly close or something like that, right? Like for you to get paid $2 an hour a mile, that's your tip, and then what comes out of the company as well, right? You get a
Mhm.
percentage of whatever the service fee is and stuff like that. But usually if I'm doing it, I'm like, I don't want to go, and it's usually something stupid. Like I don't want to go pick up McDonald's for the girls. I just don't want to drive, whatever. We're cleaning the house and stuff. I'll just order something. So then my meal is already way too much. And then I'll tip like I know McDonald's is 3 miles away from the house. So my
Mhm.
tip will be like $6-7. So it's like I'm gonna cover that. Thanks for picking it up, and driving it to me or whatever like that. And then they make whatever $10 off of 15 minutes of worth of work or something like that. So
I don't think I could DoorDash McDonald's because if I was the driver, I'd be grabbing fries. There's no
you
way I
gotta
couldn't.
you gotta break a seal of the bag now. But
I would
it
find
kind
a
of
way.
sucks. It kind of sucks because you can't verify that your food is correct. So you
Mhm.
could tip, and really you're tipping the person ordering the food, not the
Yeah.
restaurant or getting the food for you. So it's kind of scary, but you can always get your money back from those people. But
This whole thing's really chapping my ass. We need to move on, Nate.
yeah, tipping, just tipping is chapping your ass. All right, let's move on to news and notes. So then this segment will cover first part of our fantasy league. This podcast was started around our fantasy league for anybody that's new around here. So we'll cover our standings for our league, and then we will move on to some NFL news and notes that we got going on. So standings update: we got one team at 8-4, and that is the Pocket Dogs. Last week we had like 5 people in this 7-4
Yep.
range or whatever like that, and a bunch of us lost. I lost on Monday night to Chad. Um, I got the good old 2 points out of Damian Pierce, while my bench had like 3 guys go over 20 to be able to
Ouch.
fit that. So kind of rough. But 7-5, we got 4 teams: Too Hot to Handle, Boner Jams 03, Eskimo Brothers, and me, the Vinegar Strokes, at 6-6, fighting for last playoff spot. There you got Password is Taco. I shave my balls for this. That's Trey. Great name for your team. Great name, Trey. The Murder Boners 5-7. You got the Milford Academy and you, Tony Patriot, 4-8 out of playoff contention. You got 3 penis wine, and IR 4-8 now. Tony, you got a chance to make the playoffs. We got 2 weeks left in the fantasy, regular season. You think you're going to slide in there? You think you could get 2 in a row, get a couple people to lose?
A lot of parity in Taco
Yeah.
Corp this season. No one's really run. I know James got the win last week, but I mean, the 2nd through 5th seed all lost, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of teams up in the top half of the league taking an L last week, but it's fun. I mean, really, yeah. There's 10 teams in contention for a playoff spot right now. So
Yeah, it's
good
kind of
times.
cool. It's kind of cool. It's fun. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then all of the anxiety starts because we'll have a Sacco tournament at the end. Yes. Next
The
year, do you want to
worst.
do a regular season Sacco and a end of season playoff Sacco? Do 2?
The regular season Sacco definitely needs to be addressed. You've had teams finish this season with like 2 or 3 wins. That's a problem, and they
Hmm.
haven't gotten Sacco. Huge problem.
Is
So
it more of a problem that they finished that bad in the regular season, or that
yes,
people who almost made the playoffs can't beat those type of teams?
sustained like terrible fantasy management. That's bad. Like I've endured so many injuries this season. I've bitched about it every episode. I've managed 5 wins. You've had teams win 2 games and
Mhm.
they weren't the Sacco. That's
What
crazy.
what happens when, let's say, someone like Chad is going to get the Sacco? Like 4 weeks out, we know,
Yeah.
and he decides, fuck it. I already got the Sacco.
What
Doesn't
do you
care about roster moves, doesn't care about other things. So then someone slides into the playoffs that probably wouldn't have been there because
mhm.
there's an ineligible roster or just not changing out guys.
That's someone you need to kick out of the league if
Okay.
honestly he's doing that because we're paying $100 to play in
Yeah.
this league. It's not cheap, right?
Hmm.
And if you give up at week 7, like what are you even doing?
Yep.
Like look at this year. I think Chad was he was winless for the longest time, and
Yeah.
I think if things go right, if certain teams lose out, he could make it still, right? So
Yeah.
you're never really out.
His team's kind of dangerous
Him,
too.
him,
So
him and Nick can actually put up a lot of points.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We're gonna figure that out in the off season. We'll figure out the best way to do it. Maybe if you're listening to this out there, leave a comment or a review if you're on the audio platforms or something like that of what do you think we should do with this and how we should address it. NFL news and notes. You got Deshaun Watson served his suspension, Tony, and he
Yep.
is returning to the starting lineup for the Browns this week against his former team, the Houston Texans. I scroll Twitter and it looks like some of the fantasy community is pretty excited about this guy coming back, and Browns fans being excited as well. Right? They're getting a quarterback. They think they
Yeah.
got a team, and let's see what he got so you can make some momentum for next year. Where are you at with it?
I'm almost as excited as his accusers who he settled with because apparently they're going to be at the game too.
Yeah. Isn't that the craziest thing, man? Like, hey, we don't support this guy, but we're going to support the league, and we're going to put money into the league that supports this dude playing that we don't think should play. Like, you're paying his salary.
Yeah.
You're giving him clicks. You're giving him attention. Like, it's kind of awkward and kind of
Yeah.
funny, but
I don't know if it's the women or the attorney with Busby or something like that. Like I don't
yeah.
know who's doing it, but it's not a good look. I don't support that at
You think
all.
they're going to wear a jersey, a number 10 jersey, or a number 4 jersey, or what are they wearing? The Texans or the Browns one?
They're wearing a Davis Mills jersey, probably.
Davis Mills jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see the Browns with him under center. They have the running game with Nick Chubb. Kevin Stefanski has a good running scheme. The defense has been much better of late ever since they got Myles Garrett back, right? But
Hmm.
that division is going to be rough, right? You got Lamar, you got Joe Burrow, you got now Deshaun Watson. The Steelers, they're always a little frisky, right? So
Hmm.
just excited to see what he adds to the AFC North. Excited for
Yeah.
Kendall, since this will be the first real quarterback the Browns have had since Johnny Manziel.
Oh yeah, because he came after Brady Quinn. So
Yeah, I figured you'd say that.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I'm excited to see what ends up happening. It's kind of interesting though that people in the fantasy community and these analysts are pretty like geeked up about it, and it's
Yep.
like he started practicing with the team. Like I think he got there around week 10, started
Mhm.
sitting in the film room, right, uh, and being a part of meetings and stuff like that, going over the game plans and what they're doing and understanding that. Started practicing 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
week 11 or something like that. I don't know how many reps you get, but They had to been giving him some, like, just to prep him. But he didn't do well in the preseason. It was bad. Like, it was like Zach Wilson bad. Like, I'm a Zach Wilson guy. I like Zach Wilson, but it's more for the personal stuff and the attitude and, the demeanor of the person rather than the play on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But Deshaun didn't show anything on the field, but who knows? Maybe he understands the scheme more. He's learning. Um, it'll be interesting. So, um, you think he puts on a show? You think the Browns are 7-point favorites? Do you think they cover against the Houston Texans?
I think they cover for sure. That
Mhm.
may or may not be one of my picks later, but I think Jacoby Brissett, like even against the Texans, he would have been like a top 12, like a QB1 this weekend.
Yeah.
How can
Yeah.
you not say Deshaun Watson's not going to jump in and also be a QB1 against the Texans? They're bad,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I think he'll do fine this weekend.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. On a positive note, we're trying to preach positivity on this podcast this week and going forward. So, I'm
Yep.
happy for him. He gets to play in front of the fan base that, cheered him on for so long. Maybe he can, he gets another shot at, doing the thing that he enjoys doing, provides income for himself. Um, and he gets to go shake the hands of the people who, gave him that opportunity in the Houston Texans management
Yep.
of, trading him to the Cleveland Browns to give him another shot because they weren't going to play him, but also the same team that didn't suspend him so that he could get paid for a year also. So, after they gave him, 30 bill, they enabled him the opportunity to go get 200 and something, whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of positive stuff going on there. A lot of people going to be in the stands that you wouldn't think would be there, right? But they're rooting and supporting for the guy. So it'll be interesting and it'll be really fun. So we're gonna get some backlash on that. Hey, real quick, right? You remember the episode with Terrence before the draft? Before the draft, when we
Yeah.
talked about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You remember how Terrence said he's disowning the Browns franchise, doesn't want anything to do with it. Um,
Who's he
and
starting?
Amari Cooper, he's had Amari Cooper for the entire year. He's definitely, I
Mm-mm.
mean, maybe that's what he gets, right? Is Terrence a liar? Did Terrence misinform us of his decisions and his way forward, or does winning matter more to Terrence? I mean, either way, I'm fine with it. I just like to understand one of my friends a little bit more. Um, if he has some problem with telling the truth, I'd like to be able to help him get through that. So that he can feel better about himself later on in life. Because I mean,
I
he was adamant about no Browns, and I said Nick
I
Chubb's there at the end of the first. You're not taking him, no.
I recall that. I
Yeah.
do recall
Mhm.
that. And maybe, he's 5-7 in your league right now. So maybe this is a little bit of negative karma coming
Yeah,
his way. I I thought for sure he was going to do what he said and disavow all Browns, anyone
that's
who had a hand in that franchise. So
yeah.
here he is, and here we are. You're 5-7,
I
Terrence.
think it just shows, winning matters, right?
Yep.
No matter how you feel about anything, when you're a winner, you're a winner. So right now, Terrence is a loser. Um, the thing that I wanted to, so I noticed it like 3 weeks ago because I think I played him at one of those games or something like that, and I didn't want to say anything because he would have to trade him, right?
Yeah.
Like he can't drop Amari Cooper just being like, oh fuck, right?
Not this year. Nope.
You got to eat it. You can't drop him. And if he drops him, you're gone. Like I'm putting him back on your roster no matter what. I will replace your quarterback. I think he's got like Josh Allen. So I was thinking about that when I was writing this up. All right, moving on. Mike White tosses for 315, 3 touchdowns against the Bears. Is Mike White the franchise quarterback for the Jets? And does Zach Wilson now have the best job in the NFL being a backup quarterback?
What kind of name is Blue Mountain State? Is that like a mountainous region, like of a state that votes Democrat?
Look,
Is that a
it
Colorado reference? Is that why I
is that
like it
is
here?
that a Colorado reference? Like is it a Coors Light reference? Right? It might have been a Coors Light reference.
I saw the bullet for this one. I was offended. Like, how dare you compare Zach Wilson to Alex? Wilson's trash. He's not good, and I don't think he can even cut it as a backup in the NFL. Give me Chase Daniels before you put Zach Wilson on my team.
Mm,
10 times out
mm.
of 10.
But he has the best job in the NFL right now. He's the backup quarterback. He doesn't need to, worry about the practices way too much. He's going to run the scout team, uh, which I don't know how much that's going to help them out. But he has way more time for everybody else's mothers. Like Mike White gets his chance to be a franchise quarterback for the New York Jets, while Zach Wilson gets to go and do what he loves to do.
That's fair.
It's not be good at football. It is go on MILF Hunter or something like that, right? Like he might be on the bus later on.
He's not even the second best quarterback on that roster. It's Joe Flacco.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's how bad it is.
Is Mike White a franchise quarterback?
No, get out of here.
Why not?
Absolutely not.
All the guy's done is produce.
You could throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Bears. They have nobody right now.
He's thrown for hundreds of yards in the past too, in the other times that he's played.
No, the answer to your question is no.
The only time he's thrown under 100 yards was when he was injured.
The answer is no. Who's the offensive coordinator in New York?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's what's his name from San Francisco. God damn it. Son of a bitch. This is gonna irritate me.
Yeah.
I was talking about him today.
I don't know who it is. All I know is that Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded coach, and the Jets' defense is nasty. And when you got a nasty thing like that, all you need is a quarterback to be competent to be a franchise guy.
Mike LaFleur. So they're running something similar to what the 49ers do. They pull them from that staff, right? So look what that offense has done for a dud like Jimmy G or CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins. Like they can make okay quarterbacks look pretty good, pretty competent. So I don't think
Jimmy G has the best winning percentage of a starting quarterback since he's been starting.
Jimmy G's got to be the only quarterback in the league where you're worried when you're winning and you're worried when you're losing.
The only reason Jimmy G gets flack is because he's hot. That's the only reason Jimmy G gets. It's because everybody else's wife is watching the game with them. Like, I'll watch the Niner game with you because they're drooling over Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, I shut it off. Reason. Yeah, I shut it off if they're on prime time. Yeah,
you can't put him 100%.
On. He's handsome.
It's terrible. Mike White's a franchise quarterback.
Nope.
And Zach Wilson has the best job, especially for the type of guy he is. Overrated, underrated, Tony. So we got 5 things here. Topics from this week, right? Overrated, underrated, Mike White.
Overrated.
You're fucking high. Overrated, underrated, Jordan Love.
Underrated.
Get the fuck. No way. That guy threw 130 yards one time in his life. One game.
We'll come back to it. Let's keep going.
He is terrible. Overrated, underrated, Kenny Pickett.
Overrated.
Oh, you're overrated, underrated, Josh Jacobs.
Underrated. Underrated.
Eat crow. Overrated, underrated, the Niners defense.
I hate that I have to say this because you're giving me shit for all my picks. Underrated.
Yeah, they're underrated.
Wherever they're ranked, they need to be higher.
They're ranked 1, and they need to be higher.
They've allowed 40 points across the last 4 games, including the shutout last week against the Saints. It's crazy.
I don't know how many weeks it's been, but they haven't let up points in the fourth quarter.
Nuts.
I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. But
yeah, that's scary.
You care to explain any of this malarkey? Mike White, Jordan Love.
Which one do you want?
Let's just start with Jordan Love. We've already talked about Mike White.
So Aaron Rodgers, future Hall of Famer, right? He casts a very wide shadow. The guy who supplanted Brett Favre all those years ago. So I think Jordan Love's just kind of been forgotten, sitting on the bench the last couple seasons. So I just want to see more of him. I don't think he's being rated at all. So I feel like he's definitely in the top 32. I'd put him above Zach Wilson, put him above Mike White.
No.
Maybe that rushing ability on the ground is exactly what Green Bay needs, right? So you don't get that with quarterbacks in their 40s, apparently.
I was hyped on Jordan Love when he was coming out as a rookie. I had a bunch of his rookie cards and autographs and all this kind of stuff. Then Aaron Rodgers re-signed, and I was like, I'm buying more because this guy's going to get his chance. And when he does, he's going to blow up and all this kind of stuff. And then I watched him play, and I was like, this guy is terrible. And the couple drives that he had at the end of that Philly game or during that time when he was in the Philly game was like the best he's ever done anywhere, to include the college game. And it was just like Philly wasn't playing defense that game. The Green Bay Packers put over 30 points on them. The Green Bay Packers are basically like the Denver Broncos on offense. They're terrible. They are terrible. They only have touchdowns because they threw 5 of them to one dude in 2 weeks. They're trash, and Jordan Love is trash as well.
Give the
Kenny
kid a
Pickett.
chance. Give him a chance.
What do you got against Kenny Pickett?
He's a rookie, so there's still time for him too. I'm not saying the book's written, but he has the 26th best passing grade per PFF so far this year. It hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. They
Have you
beat the
looked at
Colts,
his
but they should have lost that game. Like
Have you
the
looked at his
Colts,
passing grade like as it's progressed throughout the year?
he's making improvements, sure, but they should, like I said, they should have lost the Colts. Colts fumbled that game away in more than one way.
Yeah. I like Kenny Pickett. I think he's a baller. I think he fits that city really well. They got a dope ass receiver, dope tight end. If they could figure out how to draft a lineman or get a lineman in
Yeah.
there, like they got a squad, and I think he can do. I think he could do the job. I think he's completely underrated. Josh Jacobs were good there because
Because I agree with you.
yeah, I agree with you. And then the Niners defense is scary because they've done this, and I think they're the number one overall defense on the year. I think points scored, rushing yards, passing yards, touchdowns against, third down, fourth quarter, all these things that really, really matter. And for the majority of the year, they had to do it with 5 guys out on the defense, 4
Yeah.
guys out, 3 guys out, and they're still down Eric Armstead. Like
Yep.
that when that dude comes back, it's going to be mayhem. But it kind of scares me this week. So
It's going to be a shame when they take that just elite defense into the playoffs and they get bounced because of Jimmy G.
I don't think they will. I think Jimmy G is really good at football. Jimmy G wins a Super Bowl if it's not for one underthrown pass.
How many draft picks did they give up to draft his replacement?
One underthrown pass is the difference between them winning a Super Bowl and not winning a Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And everybody's talking about Jimmy Garoppolo differently.
When it matters, you can't trust him when you're winning. Can't trust him when you're losing. That's all I'm saying.
You're crazy. Would you want Jimmy Garoppolo on the Rams right now?
I'd rather have Jared Goff than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. All right, let's go over. We started this 2 weeks ago. It hasn't been that good for me. It's been pretty good for you. But on your podcast, the 58 West King podcast, it's linked below for everybody to go check that out. I encourage you to go check it out. Leave a bad review. You guys pick every single game heads up. And so we decided a couple weeks ago that we were going to do 3 bets against the spread, right? We don't need to do all of them. That's fucking insane. Pick 3. Last week we ended up doing one of them had to be on Thanksgiving. And this week we are going to do one has to be prime time. To recap last week, I had the Cowboys. That stunk. You get that Giants touchdown with no time left, basically. And the Cowboys just let them in the end zone because they have no integrity. Can you imagine the San Francisco 49ers just letting someone walk in the end zone? That's the difference between championships and non-championships. But they don't cover the number against the Giants. I had the Titans. Who they're playing? They were playing Cincinnati. That one just didn't go well. They were an underdog. But the line did move in the favor, right? I think I had them at -2.5. I believe it was maybe -3, and it moved to Titans 1, right? And I know, like closing line value matters, right? As long as you're on the positive side of where the line moves throughout the week, and you do that over and over and over, you are going to be on the positive when it comes to wins and losses, I guess you would say, right? When the market moves in your direction, you got a better number. You want to be that way. You don't want it to go against you. So closing line value there. But a loss is a loss. And I had the Steelers on Monday night. I think they were what were they? Were they a 1.5, 2.5, 3.5? I forget what the number was. It felt like it was big. Maybe it was 4.
Yeah.
And it was 4, right? And then it closed at, it was 4, closed at 2.5. And I said that I was just going to bet the money line. So that was kind of nice. But I finished 1-2. I'm 1-5 overall. Tony, last week you had the Lions cover. Yep. You had the Chiefs to blow out the Rams. That looked pretty close. Were you sweating that one? And they end up covering the 13.5
Chiefs.
13.5 or something like that.
Threw a pick at the goal line. I think they got stuffed or kicked a couple field goals too. It was bad. They should have won by a lot more. Whatever, but I'll take it.
And then you had the Niners. I believe they were 8.5 against the Saints, and you took that.
Shut them out.
They covered 3-0 on the week. Tony, you're 5-1 overall. You got one for this week. I got my 3 here. We'll just snake it. You give me one. I'll give you 2. You give me 2.
Okay.
I'll give you 1.
Start with an easy one. Seattle. They're 7.5-point favorites against the Rams in LA. No Stafford, no Cup, no Allen Robinson. I think Aaron Donald has a high ankle sprain. Probably, honestly, they're probably going to start shutting people down for the year. It's a lost cause, but also no offensive line. No idea who's starting. Yeah, I think Seattle wins this one easily.
And that's on the road, correct?
For Seattle, correct.
Yeah. All right. So I got Tony, you're going to hate me for this. And I'm going to hate me for this because I don't know why I keep doing this. But the Denver Broncos on the road at Baltimore, 8.5-point dogs. I'm going to take the Broncos plus 8.5. They don't let up 20 points a game. Over unders 38.5, right? So implied totals is like 23 to 13. I don't know what it fucking comes out to, right? But it's 23 to 15 essentially, right? It seems right, but I don't. The Ravens offense has not looked good whatsoever. Well, we talk about all these other teams with bad offenses.
Yeah.
It's terrible to watch the Ravens play, right? Denver, all you got to hope is that they get a couple field goals, essentially, right? So you get three, 4 field goals, maybe a touchdown, 2 field goals, a touchdown, and then they lose by 7, right? Or they lose 21-12 or 21-13 or something like that, which seems very Denver Bronco like. I think that they keep it within within a score against the Ravens just because of their defense. The Ravens can't really pass the ball that well right now. You're gonna guard Mark Andrews and then stuff the run. If there's a team that could do it, it's the Denver Broncos. I feel like as long as the Ravens don't pass towards Patrick Surtain, like they're not going to score points. So
you're not concerned with the dysfunction there? I think Hackett's like he's got to be on his last thread, right? Like I'm surprised he wasn't fired this week.
It can't get any worse. It can't get any worse.
So like you talked about their defense, they were good, but since week 9, like weeks 9 on, they have the 27th ranked defense in terms of efficiency. It's been bad. 31st against the pass. Defense is okay. They're top 10, but they've been bad. Like they've completely turned it around. I think maybe Bradley Chubb impacts that a little bit, right? But they're what, 3-7, 3-8 now? Like they're going the wrong way.
Patrick Surtain's getting smoked right now. Like he lets up a couple big plays a game, right? And they look really bad. So, but I don't think that the Ravens are going to be able to capitalize against that. It is tough though. It's an 11 o'clock mountain start, so that's really early going the opposite, to the East Coast or whatever like that. So my second one, I hate to do this. It's not good, but I think that they win the game, and I have the Dolphins on the road plus 3.5 against the Niners. The Niners
hedging. You're hedging.
It's weird because we brought it up last week. You're not as good as you were last week, and you're not as bad as you were last week. The Niners played pretty bad last week from an offensive standpoint, right? The defense was stout, but the offense was not good at all. The Dolphins took out their players in the second quarter, essentially. They put up 30 points in basically a quarter and a couple minutes, right? They had, the fumble or pick. What was it? It was a fumble, I believe, for a touchdown. And they just looked unstoppable from an offensive standpoint. They let the Texans back in the second half. The Niners have the best defense. The Dolphins probably have the best offense in the league. They have the best. I think that the Dolphins have the best head coach in football right now. I think they have the best offensive coordinator in football. I think he's just super, super smart. I like the guy. I love watching his press conferences and his interviews because he's kind of quirky and weird. But it's pretty comical. But if I have to pick between coaching in this game, I'm going to pick Mike McDaniel. And I think that he, being with the Niners, has a better grasp of what they're going to want to do from a defensive standpoint, the strengths and weaknesses. And I think they're just going to be able to put up more points than the Niners in this game. I think that it might be a little bit closer, but I think that they can put up points. And if they lose, I can see them getting a backdoor cover to get it within 3. So,
okay. Is that what you're betting this week?
I'm betting the Dolphins plus 3.5.
Plus 3.5. Okay. All right.
It's
bold against your team. The defense you just hyped up.
On the road, at home. The Niners are at home.
Yep.
Levi Stadium is banging.
Oh,
It's so loud.
SoFi North, I think is what you meant to say.
Yeah, they're not at home. They're on the road in San Francisco. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Dolphins +3.
Okay. Wow. All right.
It opened at 3 and it went to 3.5. So, it's not in my direction, but
It's not.
it's one of those things where you just have this gut feeling that the Niners could really get smoked.
Yeah. With the way they played offense last week, I can definitely see another lapse there.
Mm-hmm.
And Miami's not going to get shut out, right?
Yeah.
That's not what they do. But
No.
my second one, Cleveland. They are favored by 7, at least when I look this up on DK and FanDuel.
Yep.
They're at Houston. I think Miami, you mentioned earlier, they were up like 30-0 before they started pulling starters. So I think they could have won that game like 60-0 if they kept their foot on the gas. I don't think Cleveland has any issue with Houston. They'll run the ball. Deshaun Watson, if you want to call it a revenge game, he'll throw a couple touchdowns. I think this will be one of those games that's not really too exciting. So I probably won't watch it.
Yeah. I think in that game, you're going to know pretty quick how it's going to
Yeah.
go. I did it. I wanted to bet Houston on that side.
Really?
I think Houston's kind of gritty. Houston's kind of gritty. I think they can keep it within a point or within a touchdown. But I was like, I don't want to mess with it because I don't really know in-game opportunity. So your last one.
So I don't like any of these primetime. I don't like any of these primetime ones.
They're terrible this week.
It's like Buffalo. If it was in Buffalo, that one's in New England. I'm not going that way either direction. I think I'll go with the Monday night game, the Saints at the Bucks. I'll take the Bucks. They got 3.5 at home. Yeah. The Saints offense is in a bad place. Shut out last week. I think they have like the worst rushing offense over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So I'll take the Bucks. They've been running the ball better. Offensive line having some struggles. I think they just lost Wirfs for a little bit, but Tom Brady will just check it down. They'll get it done. Chris Godwin, he looks like he's back. He had a monster week last week. I think he finishes like the wide receiver 2 on the week. So, but I'll take Tampa Bay 3.5.
Yeah, that's what I got too. That was the one I wanted. I thought about the Bills with the 4, but they haven't been playing that well.
Yep.
Josh Allen's elbow is probably a little bit messed up. If there's someone who could defend them, it's got to be the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those places where I don't want to take the Patriots because they lose by 21, right? Yeah. And then the Sunday night game was Dallas at home against the Colts. They're 10.5-point favorites. If it didn't have that hook and the 10.5, I probably would have taken Dallas there.
Same. I looked at that one. Yep.
But I can't take the Colts either. I just don't know. I want the Colts to do well. They might be able to do well, but immobile quarterback. I don't know. Matt Ryan did run a little bit. I think I did tweet.
Matt Ryan makes a read. He feels pressure and he just crumbles. Like he's old.
Matt Ryan, dual threat.
Oh my God.
Recap. You got the Hawks on the road, -7.5 against the Rams. The Browns, -7 on the road at Houston. And the Bucks at home Monday night, 3.5.
Let's go.
I got the Broncos +8.5 at the Ravens. Dolphins +3.5 at the Niners. And Bucks 3.5 at home.
Your picks are bold. I think you'll make more money if you bet those. Those are your first 2 there. So
I'm gonna have. It's gonna be bad, man. It's gonna be bad. All right, let's move on to our draft here. So, look, Trey inspired us to be nice. He brought up more positivity, more kindness towards each other. Talk good about each other rather than thrashing each other. So Trey gets his own draft this week, Tony. All right. I don't know how else to put it. Let's give the guy his own draft. So we're going to draft the top 3 things. We're just going to do 3 because 5 I think would be a little bit exhausting.
Yeah.
Maybe after episode 100, see how he acts on the air a little bit, how he does. Maybe we'll get him up to top 5, but we'll give him a top 3. 3 is my favorite number.
I don't think we have 5 things each to say about Trey. That's nice. Either, so baby steps.
Whoa.
Baby steps.
Whoa. Positivity.
Oh, sorry.
Positivity.
Starting now.
So our top 3 things that we love about Trey. So everybody gets to hear us and get to know us. More people want to know about Trey.
Yeah.
Here's him all the time. So I'll go first, right? You like the hook, so I'll go first. So let's see here. All right, this one, right? Trey's really great at hosting barbecues. There's some of the best barbecues that I've ever been to. And while you're at his barbecues, he's really great at explaining and demonstrating how he cooked all these really high end meats on what seems to be like the world's largest Traeger that's out there. And then while he's talking about that, I'd be like, yo, that must have taken a long time. You had to smoke it forever. Oh no, he also has this really large industrial grill right next to it that, I mean, it's like something you'd see at a fairground or something like that. So great barbecues, really good at explaining exactly how he cooked it on this massive Traeger. I
Mhm.
mean, the thing's like the size of a truck bed, and just premier quality, high end meats. And he really puts it out there so you know which ones to buy later on.
Mhm.
That's my first pick.
It's a good one. It's a good
Yeah,
one. This Traeger is massive. I can
yeah,
vouch.
yeah.
Mine is I guess my first pick here. Trey's really, really good at math. He's also incredibly helpful. I remember years ago when we were in the SATCOM business, right down at Holloman, we used
Mm-hmm,
to have to crunch some numbers on transmit frequencies, receive frequencies, TTS, all of that stuff.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes got a bit tedious. Sometimes we struggled with the calculations. Trey in the tent, inside the high bay, he'd often see us struggling, pulling our hair out. He would snatch the pyramid equations from us, do the calculations in his head, and smugly go back to patching modems as he handed us back our problem solved. Nose
Nice,
up. Yeah, nose up,
great,
though.
great problem solver. Like, don't even worry about doing it. He'll just do it for you, right? And he'll
Yep.
remind you
Yep.
of how to do it later on. That's pretty good. Um, yeah, while at poker night, right? Oh, no, you got another one. It's a snake.
That's right. So there aren't many people who are as generous with the advice they give out. Trey will invite you out golfing, right, to play around 18, maybe 9. You never know. But on the fourth hole, we already up 5 strokes on him. He's going to let you know that your posture needs some work. He's going to show you how to stand.
Hmm.
He's going to let you know that you need to fix your grip or to fix your slice. Just
Hmm.
just super nice and always looking out for us, even if it costs us, 10 to 15 strokes and the loss during
Yeah,
the match. Yep.
that's great.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, I got one. So while we were at poker night, right? Or I got two coming up, I guess you could say. These are my last two. But while we were at poker night, right? Um, Look, he's just great at hosting stuff. He hosts the poker night, Black Friday. You get to go see his glorious 37-foot Christmas tree all lit up and stuff like that. I mean, he must have put it up right in the morning after Thanksgiving. It was awesome, just so that we could see it. But
Yep.
anyways, um, we're all sitting in there, and Trey goes, "Hey, anything in the garage you guys can have, right? Mi casa, su casa." And then he walks us over, right? And he's like showing us where it's at because we couldn't recognize where like the drinks were, right? And we
Hmm.
didn't recognize because he hadn't shown us his new fridge yet and explained how he had to go in on half of a cow with another one of our friends that was there, big Jack country dude who likes Alabama, right? Um, and he had to get a new fridge because he needed way more freezer space in order to store half this cow, right? So he showed us where the brand new fridge was. And at the same time, he allows us to go into the garage, anything that we want. And then also explains how he just got his garage floors all resurfaced, right? I mean, it was pretty cool. You walk on it, it's got some like little grip thing or whatever. It's super nice,
Hmm.
super clean, right? And just explained the whole process of how they came in and they had to take all this stuff out and how long it took to dry and all this kind of stuff, right? Just in case we ever wanted to redo the entire flooring of our garages the same way that Trey did, so that when we put in our brand new fridge with half a cow in it, like
Hmm.
we could feel really connected together. So that's my second one there. And let's see. My third one. I got a couple here. It's hard to pick. I mean, there's so many good things that I love about Trey here. Um, let's see. Let's see. Look, this one's a good one too, right? So there's times like I got kids. It's just me and my two girls. So Trey recognizes that, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come over? We'll eat a little bit of food. The kids can play outside." My kids love jumping on his trampoline that he's got out back, right? And his sons are really good with my daughters, right? They're way older, and they're really good at becoming friends and stuff. And I think it's because his sons have always wanted a sister or something like that, right? So they kind of connect with my kids. Um, But so we'll get the kids together to go play, and he invites us over to his house and everything like that, right? But what I really enjoy about it is the conversations me and Trey have, right? So we'll stand outside for a little bit and watch the kids play as we stand next to his American Ninja Warrior course that he's got going on in the backyard. You've seen that with all the ropes and tied to trees and all kinds of stuff, right? So we're just standing there, kind of leaned up on the ropes of his American Ninja Warrior course, and I just enjoy figuring out what he's going to do next with the backyard, right? It provides me inspiration for when I buy a home and what I want to do in the backyard. And, there's times where we talk about how he's going to put in a half court basketball court, and hey, anytime you want to come up, and he invites us over to, hey, when the basketball court's up, we can all get together and play basketball on my brand new basketball court that overlooks, you got this good view of the Rocky Mountains and Pikes Peak right from that little angle. So I really enjoy those talks. I like seeing the vision and seeing where it's going to go, and it gives me inspiration for what I want to do in my own home. So that's my last one.
Yeah, he'll also show you, what he's doing next with the chipping green, how many retaining walls he's going to build. There's always a new one every time we go. He's got a new retaining wall.
It's awesome. It's just like he's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Really love that about him. Yeah.
My last one here. This is one I think you've experienced as well. Trey is so encouraging when it comes to just improving yourself, being better with fitness, just sculpting your body. So much so that he'll invite you over to his house, to be his workout buddy, and he's even kind enough when you're over there, not only to lift up his shirt and show you his oiled abs, but to also explain just how awesome his pull-up bar is and how it's the best on the market, because it has multiple places to grip and that it can hold more weight than the ones that Gold's Gym has to offer. Yeah. So just love hearing about all of Trey's workout equipment and just how good it is. And seeing his abs. Cool. That honestly, the abs are probably my favorite part. No lie.
Yeah.
Wait. No cap. Is that how you say that? Is that how you
no
say
cap.
That?
No cap. That's how kids say that. So
that's right.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Like I went over there and we did a shoulder workout one day, right? And then we finished off with some abs. And he's like, hey, you keep doing this, you're gonna be able to see, like, you're gonna get these abs, right? And he's got like these big, it looks like, those sweet Hawaiian rolls just sitting on his stomach. They're just massive abs, all whatever like that. But he's very good at saying that this is how you're going to get there. I'll get you there. Right. So, all right, let's recap our draft. So I got Trey's really great at barbecuing, right? And explaining how he cooks his fine meats on these really great grills. I also got, Trey just opening up his house to us. Mi Casa, Su Casa, letting us know where all the drinks are in his brand new fridge in the garage, and explaining how to get these type of floors within it, for whenever you get your home or you want to resurface and what it's like and all that kind of stuff. And then my last one was getting the kids together and talking about his basketball court that he's going to put in so that we can all go play basketball together, rounded everybody up, And then look, he's really great at math. So good at math that he'll just do it, take it from you, do it with you, and then he'll go back to doing what he's got to do. No questions asked, right?
No help offered.
No help offered, nothing like that. Just I'll do it for you. And here you go. This is the number you need. When you go out golfing with him, he's the guy who's going to give you golf lessons to improve your golf game. Every single hole, your grip, your stance, your back, your posture, everything that you're doing, how you want to place a ball on a tee, the angle of your tee, all that kind of stuff, right? And then you got that he's really encouraging with fitness, right? And he's going to show you the stuff, let you know, hey, when you want to get your gym, you're going to get this premier equipment so that you can get these rock hard abs like he has. Really good at showing us the way there. So this is a great draft, Tony.
I think so.
I enjoy putting out positive messages about Trey and talking about the things that we love. We should probably do it more often with other people within the league as well. That maybe that could be our running.
Let us know how we did. Let us know how we did, Trey.
Yeah, let us know how we did. Everybody in the league, anybody who knows Trey that's out there listening, if you don't know Trey, comment how great of a friend that you wish you had in like the one that we have in Trey.
Can we get some ab graphics in the YouTube thumbnail for this one? Is that on the table?
I can do that. I was actually making the thumbnail right before this. And I didn't even think about that. But yeah, we'll do something like that.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. Maybe we'll put them on Zach Wilson or something that. Mike White with big abs and stuff like that. So
I'll accept Mike White with abs. Zach Wilson, get him out. I'm already using him as a thumbnail this week. Can't have Zach Wilson.
He's gonna be on a thumbnail later on when I clip. But all right, let's move on to rants and raves before we get out of here, Tony. Do you have a rant or a rave for this week?
I do. I have another rant.
Yes. Fuck the kindness and
So
the
much
positivity.
positivity.
Yeah.
That ends now.
This shit making me like cringe inside.
I felt uncomfortable the whole time. I didn't know we were going to talk about that. The Chicago Bears, they're goddamn sideline reporters or media people. How do you report to us that Nathan Peterman is starting, 20 minutes out, 30 minutes out, and then wait until minutes before kickoff to amend what you said? You know how many of us made bets on this news based on Peterman starting? Like, I made so many in the 15, 20 minutes that we were kind of left hanging. So someone needs to be held liable. Matt Eberflus, Justin Field, Mike Dick. I don't know who. I don't care. You guys just wrecked my parlays. This was really bad.
What did you put in there? Like
I started throwing Jets in DFS. I started throwing, they're getting a touchdown for sure. Let me parlay that with these other things I had that really made the odds spicy. It was bad. Because Peterman, he's not good. He might be worse than Zach Wilson. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was really bad. And Simeon, what did he get? An injection? And he's like, I'm good to go all of a sudden. Come on.
Yeah, he got a shot of that good stuff. It did look kind of good there. You gave me a bunch of shit, right? I was like, right now, that Bears money line, little shekel looks kind of nice right now. You just throw a little bit at it, whatever like that. I think it was like +4 or something. It was bumping fives, and I was like, yeah. What kind of game do the Jets lose? This kind of game, right? So, like something like that. Maybe White stinks, and he's not the guy that he was last year, and he was the guy. But it did look good there for about a quarter and a half, and I know you were shaking because you're like, screenshot this, and all this kind of stuff. So I was gonna send out the fantasy receipts. All right, I would say that I have a rave for this week, but I would be lying, and I'm not a goddamn liar. I will roster the Browns, and I will not back down from it.
We won't be intimidated, Terrence.
I will not be intimidated by the Browns organization and how crummy they are. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just giving shit. But I got a rant. Look, it's the week after Black Friday, Thanksgiving. Traditionally you got all these sales. Black Friday sales, when we were growing up, back when we were kids, you had to go sit outside Best Buy starting around midnight, put a chair, get a little umbrella, people with tents, all this kind of stuff, right? Because you were going to get the deals then. And same thing. Okay, Black Friday's done. You got the weekend, decompress, eat your fucking leftovers. Boom, Cyber Monday, right? You get online and you're going to buy the stuff for the discounts. And it's actually decent stuff that you could get at really good prices, right? Like you were paying bare minimum back then. Now all the shit sucks and the sales go on for 2.5 months. Like Cyber Monday sales on Amazon started a week and a half ago. Like it's just blasting everywhere. Or hey, all November we're doing Black Friday. No, then you should just charge those fucking prices if you could do it for a month. Like the purpose is like one day, get a bunch of people in, hope they buy some other stuff there that you marked up, because you mark up your HDMI cables, or whatever like that, or your TV wall stand things to make up the profits from that you're losing from selling such stuff at such like low prices or whatever like that. But it's just exhausting. Like, and none of this stuff is that great. None of it. And the prices stink. And it's just forever. You can't call it Black Friday sale when it's 3 weeks long or a month long or it starts November 1st. Like it continuously just starts earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier. Like I'll just wait until after Christmas, maybe mid-January when you still have shit because people don't want to buy it for the price that you marked down. It's the same shit that bugs me about like Halloween candy, like Christmas candy, right? The difference in like the Reese's is just the shape of the fucking Reese's. It's a pumpkin, and then the pumpkins go on sale, right? 25% off for a week. And then like 2 weeks later, they're like 75% off. Yeah. And then they got the Christmas trees right next to it at regular price. And it's the same goddamn Reese's.
I need that Drake meme where I'm like, no, I don't want the pumpkin. I say no to the tree. I say
It's
yes.
so
That's the one when you get to the Easter Bunny. The
yeah.
Reese's peanut butter filled Easter Bunny, that's the one that's what I'm waiting for.
That big one.
Yeah, the
Have you
big one.
yeah, the one that's like a full-on hoagie, essentially. It's
Yes.
massive. Yeah, it's like the size of a meatball sub. Like,
Yeah.
yes, let me get that guy.
Do you do you
$7.
do you remember the shit we used to line well, I never did, but I worked retail, and
Mhm,
so people would line up for this at the Home Depot
mhm.
hours before we opened on Black Friday. It was Thanksgiving. I think it was like Thanksgiving night, like 11 or 12 we would open, and we only had a limited supply. It was the Home Depot, but
Yeah.
we sold 42-inch LCD TVs. It was like $500 or $499, right? You got to keep it under 500. And people would line up for that
Mhm.
and like coming in. That's a joke now, right? That's like people's. I think you have a monitor that's 42 inches.
Yeah, I think my monitor is like 32 inches or something
Yeah,
like that,
so
and
silly.
it
The
was
things.
way cheaper than that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I just bought like I think I think it's like a 46-inch TV in my bedroom right now or whatever like
Mhm.
that, and I bought it for like $300 brand new at
Yeah.
Best Buy, like, and it's totally dope. I worked at Walmart and I stocked overnight, and we were 24/7, right, at the
Yeah.
time, Supercenter. So all of our Black Friday stuff will be like wrapped in black, like shrink wrap, essentially, right? So you couldn't see it,
Yep.
and it'd just be on pallets. But people would be in there at like 9 o'clock on
Just,
Thanksgiving night,
just with their
just sitting,
cart.
no, like literally just sitting in a chair right next to whatever they wanted to buy. Like they got a sign on it or whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, like you can pay $20 for a blender. You don't have to get the one for 10, dog. Like it's not that serious, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty crazy.
I'm with you. I agree. Like, oh, I'm going to save $50 on this $500 TV.
Yeah.
No, you're going to spend $450 on something you don't need.
Exactly. Exactly. There's nothing I ever want to buy now. Like I
Yeah.
think now that I'm older, like I don't care. Like
That's what I use. Like, give me some like actual earbuds that work for like working out. Like, I think you talked Charlotte and get me these headphones, these like
yeah.
noise canceling headphones a while ago. I use them multiple times a week to record
Mhm.
with you, right? Like, give me stuff I need.
Yeah.
Maybe some underwear, some warm socks. I don't
Hell
know,
yeah.
right?
That's the best thing for Christmas is like when your mom sends you underwear and socks. I'm like, God damn, yes, I hate buying these things. I
Yeah,
won't buy like a 12 pack of socks, like even just the ones at Walmart or Target or whatever,
yeah.
because I'm like, I'm not paying $18 for 12 pairs of socks. That's ridiculous. Is it
Do I
9.99?
do I really need these? I have 12 pairs at home
Yeah,
that have holes in
yeah,
them, sure, but I have 12 pair.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know what else is holy?
Jesus.
Church. Jesus. Jesus's hands are holy.
Oh
And
shit,
this
did I
is
go there? I'm sorry. Forgive me.
this is the time that we're celebrating Jesus's birthday by consuming and buying a bunch of shit that we don't need. Let's pay some homage. It's a positive thing. 58 West King podcast, Tony. What do you guys got?
Yeah, we're still banging out, weekly NFL preview episodes over there. We're available Apple, Spotify, Google, anywhere.
Mhm,
We're well over. We do the picks every week for every game. You mentioned those earlier. We're well over 600 on the season. There's no
mhm.
paywall like there's with some of the experts that we're above. So check us out. You can follow us on Twitter at 58W King Podcast, and then my co-host Matt, the co-commish of our league at GramMan69. He's also on the socials, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube. We just jumped into the TikTok game. We're everywhere.
Mhm. Nice. Nice. I'm waiting. So, like on TikTok, I'm waiting for you to come through like my FYP because
What
we
is
have the
that?
same kind of stuff, like your For You page.
Hmm.
So you have
Okay.
two different things at the top of TikTok. So you'll see it when you get there, and you can like it'll be your For You page. It's just random stuff that gets put in you. And if you move it to the right, or yeah, if you move the screen to your right, it'll
Yeah.
go to your following tab of just the accounts that you follow. But I don't want to go in that tab yet. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I want to see if it comes up on my FYP or whatever like
Yeah.
that. So
We posted 4 clips for the last episode, just kind of
mhm,
chopping it up a little bit, some of the picks and whatnot. And each clip was like 500 to 600 views. So
yeah,
it's like, I don't understand the algorithm yet, but that's better than what we get on YouTube and some
yeah.
other places. So we'll take it.
I did pull up your page earlier. I was like, has it been posting TikToks? Because I haven't seen them, right? And I'm like, okay. So I look at your account and I was like, okay, I watched some of them. I'm like, okay, let me go through it. But it's important if you're gonna watch your friends' content to watch it all the way through,
Yeah.
right? You get the view duration and then react to it or whatever like that.
Does
The
that help with the
algorithm.
algorithm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it
Okay.
says like retention time matters, right? If people are
Gotcha.
watching it and then going at it, or if you run over. I notice I'll share some of the stuff with you with YouTube Shorts, right? I noticed like the time, like we have a bunch that have different lengths, I guess you would
Mhm.
say, anywhere from like 6 seconds to 20 something seconds or whatever, or up to a minute.
Yeah.
And like the there's like you see like the retention time, and then people watch it more when it got to a certain time lane, and then after the retention kind of just
Mhm.
dialed down. It's the same stuff, right? It's just 3 seconds longer. Like it changed it or whatever like that. So some of our best performing ones are like right in this sweet spot of. I
Just
think it's a sweet spot, but it's fun to learn and
just
try to
just
figure
talk
out.
bad more about Justin Fields. That's what you got to do.
I keep getting likes from the Instagram reel of the overrated, underrated Russell Wilson.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so bad because it's just like "Arr, arr, arr,"
It gets your
Russell
attention. You're
Wilson.
like, what the fuck is this
Yeah,
guy yelling at?
yeah, and then it's
And
just
like,
like,
oh, it's Russell Wilson. That makes sense.
and then there's just a pause. Overrated. It's so good. But I like it. It's the Instagram reel one that I think it's like over 1,500 views right now.
Mhm.
But every day I come out of work and there's like 6, 7, 8 likes or whatever, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I need to be more consistent in putting out the shorts. So
Agreed.
also go check out the Whiskey Flick podcast. That's Terrence. He's a Browns fan. Big Amari Cooper guy. Looking forward to a big game out of Deshaun Watson. That's going to be fun to watch. So um, apparently he doesn't watch those games, but he might because he might need his guy to win, right? Like I don't know if he covers his eyes when he watches Red Zone or whatever like
Earmuffs.
that, right?
Earmuffs,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. Get out of here, John Hanson. Stop showing this game. I don't care if they're scoring touchdowns. But go check out his podcast, the Whiskey Flick Podcast. This link below for you guys in the description as well. Talk about everything about movies. New episode 2026 coming out. So Whiskey Flick Pod 2026. You'll be able to hear our episode. But good Die Hard episode out there, though. I think it's the first one of the show. Was it? It was the first one, right? We were the inaugural episode.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, best fan
Inaugural
fight so
episode.
far.
Yeah, best fan fight. Go figure out why Die Hard is not a Christmas movie
Oh
over
my
there
god.
for you. All right, I think that's all we got. I'm a big fan of this kindness stuff. Big fan of the positivity. I mean, even if you're HIV positive, big fan of you out there. That's for our buddy Ricky. Uh, but banger of the week. So I thought long and hard about this. What what would be something to commemorate Trey for this episode, right? And
Mhm.
how, he obviously came to me and was like, "Hey, let's do some more positive stuff." Like,
Yeah.
I understand you may be hurting, right? I understand your past. Like he understands my past. Like he knows my fears, right? We've done all this kind of stuff. Um, and he's the guy that, maybe I've cried to in the past. He's welcoming of me to go confide in and let out a tear and just just to be kind to me, right? And there's no better song than Marshmello and Hasley's Be Kind. I imagine this is what Trey's listening to on the way to work, thinking about us talking about him on this podcast. So um, this would be the song that Trey would sing to me, and that's why it is banger of the week. Be Kind, Marshmello and Hasley. Halsey. For Tony of the 50 Yard West King podcast, I am Nate. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.